because I think language shapes our culture, and yeah, like so and so and so. It's like it'll be common. It's not actually a like I'm not saying that it's bad or anything, but
Mm-mm.
it's just like the possibilities of the future of the Philippines if this it was what they call this topic
Pantayong pananaw.
yeah, pantayong pananaw. If it promotes, it promotes speaking Filipino and especially it promotes the identity of Filipinos, right? Sure.
Yes, yes.
Topic. Okay. So, how will this be, let's say, in the future?
Mm. I feel you actually, Iho, with that. Yes, Nix.
I think for me personally, I think it wouldn't be like a bigger problem since I think you're just looking or maybe looking or seeing the perspective of the RACS culture or within the scope of RACS. But if you look on a bigger scale, like the whole Philippines and especially the bigger universities like University of the Philippines, like other universities, they don't use English as like the medium of their language. And especially nga, 'di ba, before we take UPCAT, it was written in there that you should master or you should be knowledgeable of Filipino language because most of the lectures are usually discussed with Filipino language. It's just that some terminologies are in English. So I think it wouldn't be really forgotten. And especially right now, like the K to 12 is being really like established in our country. I think with this mandated Filipino subject, cultural subject or Filipino history subject, I think the culture of the Philippines wouldn't be much affected by the English language. Yeah.
Yes. For a while lang guys, I just have to to Ay, buhay. I'm so annoyed. You know, sometimes it's not my package, pero they use my doorbell. And we have such a beautiful topic eh. Pero anyway, life's like that. Pero I like the exchange of discourse between the two. I'm actually somehow thinking of what Ijan said when he will it affect our culture? Definitely, but I see what Nix is trying to say. Will it be a positive change or a negative change? It's really upon we the Filipino, the
Yes,
modern Filipino.
the individuals itself, sure, the effect of it.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
Yes. So ayan, pantayong pananaw is not just somehow steamy discussion among us. This is actually a really steamy framework the moment it was actually presented by Zeus Salazar. So it's really debatable. A lot of people really, there's someone here, ito, in the criticism. Sige, I'll show na and I'll move forward to this point. Ay, there's still one pa pala. Pero I'll show you this. With the strength and criticism, there's actually one Filipino who wrote a book to negate and debate the idea of pantayong pananaw. And he is Ramon Guillermo. And he actually enumerated there all the negative things that he actually noticed in the book or the framework rather, the framework presented by Zeus Salazar. We're gonna discuss that, but I failed to mention about this important perspective. This is beautiful. I like this kasi I saw the example that I use in here is the one example of Xiao Chua. That's why I was really able to absorb what the perspective of Zeus Salazar is trying to say. So there are this four perspective in his presentation. The pangsilang pananaw, sila. It means they. They. Okay, the pang kayong pananaw, kayo, which means the plural you. Okay, plural you. And then there's this pangkaming pananaw or like the us perspective. And then the pantayong pananaw, the we perspective. So it might be confusing because of the usage of the pronoun, which is also confusing in English. That's why let us use an example of a situation for us to understand the they, the plural you, the us, and the we perspective. So in example, in the pang silang pananaw, the they perspective. So in the they perspective, the example of that is like Spaniards telling fellow Spaniards about Filipino culture, history, or information. So this happened like way back then, wherein foreigners talking about their talking with their fellow foreigners about what Filipino is about, or like what Filipino information culture is about. So that. The second example is the pankayong, ay, sorry. The pangkayong pananaw. The example of that are Spaniards telling Filipino, so it's like a lecture, di ba? The Spaniards telling Filipinos about Filipino history and information. So it could be not just Spaniards, foreigner telling Filipino that this is your story, or this is the information of your country, or this and that. So it's in their perspective about us. Okay. Next is the pangkaming pananaw. The example of this is fellow Filipino telling the foreigners about who we are, what we're made of, what's our story, and things like that. So the examples of the pangkaming pananaw is actually what Jose Rizal and other Spanish writing ilustrados did way back in the past. 'Di ba? Somehow Jose Rizal is a pure-blooded Filipino. He really loves and willing to die for the nation. It's just so happen he can speak fluent Spanish. So he uses that power, speaking in Spanish fluently, to write novels, to write essay, to write paragraphs, informing everyone that Filipino culture is this, Filipino information is this, and this is what's happening to the Filipino. So his audience are not his fellow Filipino. He's defending the Filipino using the foreign language and throwing it to the foreigners. So that's like the pangkaming pananaw, which was actually debated greatly in the Pantayong Pananaw. Because in the Pantayong Pananaw, what they wanted is like Filipinos telling fellow Filipino about Filipino culture, history, and information. So last time, I give you an activity. Read the Decalogue and read the Cartilla. If you're able to really absorb that, you will understand the sense of the Pantayong Pananaw, because Bonifacio and Jacinto's tone in there is talking to their fellow Filipino. This is who we are. This is what we should do. We are the Filipino, and that's that. So that's the Pantayong Pananaw. Okay, of the perspective of Bonifacio and Jacinto. So very concentrated, very just Filipino. Yan. So those are like the different perspective explained by Zeus Salazar about that situation. Among Us. No. Among Us is a different thing, and I do not know that game. That's why I cannot comment. I haven't played it. So anyway, that's the perspective. Any question with the perspective idea? Different perspective of telling Filipino culture, history, and information. So basically, it changes. It depends on the speaker and the audience. Who's the speaker and who's the audience? But the content is the same, talking about Filipino things. But it changes based on perspective. So this is usually the centerpiece of every framework that we're discussing. Its strengths and criticism. So it's its strength. I believe we're able to absorb that the strength of it is really a unifying force. Okay, it offers an alternative view on focusing on and appreciating one's culture. So very centralized. It also bridged the gap between the masses and the elite, because the elite are forced to speak the native tongue, which is Tagalog, or the native language. So it bridges the gap. So they could actually make a fruitful discourse. You could actually see it in politics before. Marcos and Aquino are actually good Filipino speakers, Tagalog speakers rather, but they can also speak in English. So whenever they discourse with one another, either they use the native tongue or the English language, it doesn't matter to them. They're still able to explain themselves. So one of the strengths also of the Pantayong Pananaw, it's the first framework, advocating nationalist perspective. So since it's the first, it's always like that in anything in sociology, in history, anything that's first, they became the standard. So we're not saying Pantayong Pananaw is perfect, but it's the first. So that makes it the standard. Okay, that's the beauty of actually having first things presented. You're like the barometer, di ba? Radical nationalism, yes. That's actually what the criticism with regards to Pantayong Pananaw. So let's move forward to what Ramon Guillermo somehow wrote about Pantayong Pananaw. So he believed that the Pantayong Pananaw used Filipino-only language and it marginalizes the non-Tagalog speakers. So actually, if you know people who are like from the province and you will hear their grievances about situation wherein there's a must that they need to speak Tagalog, but they were actually not accustomed in speaking that. Or if they are do accustomed by it, there are some words that either they mispronounce or there are some words that they do not know how to translate in that Tagalog word. So they're really having hard time. So the problem in the Philippines is actually not our identity as Filipino eh. It's the language division because within the country we have like many dialects that do not actually interconnect with one another. There are dialects who are like almost similar with the other, but there are others that completely opposite. So especially in the manner of speaking, there are like region who speak softly, even they're mad. And then there are like region who speaks loudly, even they're happy or they're just saying something soft, but it doesn't appear soft. So that's what Ramon Guillermo actually addressed. Yeah. So yes, one of the example to that is actually Teacher Ivy. When she's mad, she's still soft. That's why it's really confusing for me because I have never seen her mad. Pero maybe we can ask someone who have seen her mad in here. Pero she's really soft. Meanwhile, if you're familiar with Kuya Arnel naman, Kuya Arnel is from Batangas. And even he's just making a joke and he's just, kasi I really like Kuya Arnel. Like, we really bonded, talaga. Like, he look at me like a younger daughter. And then he's like gonna shout at me out of nowhere. Like, ba yung kuya? Like, why you're shouting at me? And they would be like, no, I'm just happy seeing you. But it sounds really like that. So you see, those are like what Ramon Guillermo is trying to say, that the Filipino only language that Zeus Salazar is promoting is not actually applicable, especially to non-Tagalog speakers. Second criticism he published, the rejection of anything foreign. Because for Guillermo, it sound very communist somehow. Like you're like very exclusive only in your place, right? And then it somehow appear very exclusive. So that's one criticism, the rejection of anything foreign. And then the third criticism, it focus in only in cultural independence. So the question that is, okay, you achieve your cultural independence. Everyone speaks in Tagalog. Everyone loves the country. Everyone cares about the history and everything Filipino. How about economics? How about politics? There's still differences in there. So what it seems as though the framework presented by Zeus Salazar is very general. Okay, which we have to understand because it's the first. So it will really have flaws. So I think the thing in here, it just must be, polished along the way and meet in the middle. Yes, Jose?
Um, Sure. So if we manage to be able to achieve cultural independence, wouldn't we be like the Italians who are very proud of
Very
their
nationalistic,
like
no? Yes.
yes, and then about economics and politics, then we can just like work out those things once we're done with ourselves. It's not like we're gonna like forget about economics and politics, right? Sure.
Mm. Yes, I understand actually your ano, parang your idea with regards to that. Parang ano I remember again Donald Trump in here, the fascist kind of approach kasi you mentioned Italy. So the fascism started in Italy has that tone, that extreme love of their culture and their national identity. And it looks good to some extent, but it looks actually very alarming to the extreme if you go to the extreme range already. But that's actually what the Pantayong Pananaw is referring to, like really nationalistic vibe. It's just that I think he focused mostly on the culture and failed to address that economically speaking and politically speaking, Philippines cannot be that independent. Or maybe his ano, he I think that's his dream, the independence, like pure independence. But it was not ano, clearly stated. He just really focused more on mentioning about language, and like that. Yes, Kim Awi. Yes, Kim. No. Yes, Kim.
Sure, can you hear ba?
Yan.
Actually, there was an article that I read po. It's about the bahay kubo or the hut being the like somehow like it's symbolism of the house in the Philippines. Then I've read the people debating about it that why it's the hut where there are a lot of different kinds of houses in different regions. That's somehow like a way to because actually a picture of like Asian countries different house symbol like in Korea it's like in Japan and China. Then Philippines have Ipahat, but there are a lot of people saying that how about the house that I used the Moro in Mindanao and the Visayas as
ah
well. Because like most of them have similar structures as well. So this I just want to ask Paul, I'm just curious, would you make them cultural independence for we have so variety and
correct.
diversity so in country.
Nice, nice ano, nice sharing with that. For others who I was actually only get the fragments of what Kim is like reciting. But out of those important things that was highlighted by her, I was able to make that general idea that what she's trying to recite and what she's actually saying, like every region has this certain attire, diba? And then also every region has this certain house where they live in. So she's correct when she mentioned that parang in general, parang the house symbol of Philippines is bahay kubo. But how about those people in Mindanao, the group of Sahaya? I forgot the group of Sahaya. Pero they're living actually, 'di ba, on high elevated on the water. So they have a different appearance of houses. And aside from that, let's say the national attire that the Filipinos possess, very Spaniard inspired. But if you actually go to the north, somewhere in Baguio or like that, very different style as well. So what is really our national identity? Now, there's this, no, that's why they have that publish pambansang like this, like a national house or like national fruit, national attire, national this and that. The reason why it was taught to us as young as we are, because we are being ano ba, transformed, or like we are being informed that those are the standard of what being a Filipino is. And us living in the Katagalugan region or in the Luzon area, it's it's understandable because we see those things. But try to imagine people in the Visayas and Mindanao being taught of that. Na parang like for example, you're in Mindanao and then in the lecture book said that the national attire is the Filipiniana, like that, with the white thing in the shoal and then has something in here. And then you from that place has never seen like that. Or if you do see it, not always, because you're seeing your ancestors or your fellow tribe mates wearing this and that. So you will wonder, why not this? Why that? So yun, those are like the some criticism of actually unifying culture who only caters to the Luzon part. Yan. So let's have here and we have we have tawag dito like what do you call this, live stream of result. Wag na guys, I'm getting excited and anxious eh. I'll take a look at that later. But anyway, we're clear with the strength and criticism of the Pantayong Pananaw. If you have like doubts and skepticism towards the framework, it's understandable because it still has its flaws. That's why I encourage watch the video of Xiao Chua and you will hear it from that man because Xiao Chua is actually a student of Zeus Salazar. So he actually posted pictures of them. Zeus Salazar is, I believe, now 80 years old, 85, something like that, 85 years old. So he's really old and he's the professor of Xiao Chua. So he's like, para imagine Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, that kind of passing of information. It's just like the way of Xiao Chua is in social media. So he was actually able to spread the pantayong pananaw in his own way, not just in university. So actually that's the last part of our lecture. I believe there's no activity, no activity for today, but I'm actually planning to make one for Friday. So we're not gonna have a live lecture, but if you want a live talk, that will do. I'll make my time available just to talk about something. That's fine naman. But there would be an activity on Friday. So you don't have to worry about lecture. This is it already. Yan. So no question, or would you like me to stop recording for you to be able to ask question? Let's start ano na. So that's that for the lecture ha, no.